But yeah, bro, I think stoked that we can sit down again. I realized how much I actually enjoy just talking shit about games with you, bro. So we realized recently, like, we're spending so much time trying to make sure we can find someone for the show. It's like, wait, we talk about this enough all day, every day. So why not just record it and give it out to you guys? Maybe there's someone bored enough to listen to two random oaks who probably play too many games.
Yeah, and I think that is actually a good segue into what we want to talk about today, and that is the games we've played this year.
Yes.
And the sad realization that it's been more or less the same games we've been playing for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So the thing,
And there's been so many releases this year as well. Like,
look, you've been better than me at playing new games, or at least remakes. So still, again, same games we've played before. Which, we want to focus on the games that we've been playing individually, and why we play those games. What keeps bringing us back? What are the things that gives us that dopamine, that satisfaction, that relaxation, that sense of accomplishment or not, and discuss what we're looking for when we're trying to play a new game, and what we hope for with content releases, patch releases, which brings us back to the same games, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but sort of just like the things that warrants us spending time on something.
Yes, yeah, I think like that's a point you brought up actually in previous conversations we've had with like the bras when we've done like our WoW discussions. Is the value of time now obviously is escalating as we add a few extra little bit of silver and some salt and pepper on the hair. That time is really becoming kind of priority here, and how we spend it, and games being such a huge portion, they have to be quality. So I think it's for us as well. We have the issue of we want to play the new story games, the RPGs, because we love that side, but probably more so, and you've also mentioned this a lot, is we enjoy the multiplayer element a little bit more, playing with your homies, So it's always this juggle of dedicating time to one or the other, actually completing some of these beautiful new RPGs that are being released recently. Obviously, Expedition 33 is the one that we can both speak on.
My
we went so
goodness.
deep into that. I feel like that's been like an outlier on that point specifically, like actually something that distracted us from being online for a good month, and we just played this game.
Honestly, one of my favorite gaming experiences ever. If I'm thinking my top 4 gaming experiences, I'd put Super Mario World back on N64, or no, the NES, the SNES, depending on where you were. Mario 64, but those were sort of like my formative years. And then it's God of War 2016, I think.
Yeah.
When that one came out, the one with Atreus and
Kratos. That's set a standard, I think, for all the RPGs that have come since. That linear, we all didn't realize how much we were hungering for a linear RPG.
And then obviously now Expedition 33. I mean, I've often said when it comes to that God of War, if I knew that if I ran at that wall just fast enough head first, that I'd have just enough brain damage that I can completely forget that game, so I can play it again for the first time, it would be worth it. 100%.
It was brilliant. I actually remember that dropping. I was actually in Joburg at the time with Larry. We just moved there for a little bit, and it was like a tough 2 years. But that game made that visit, that time in Joburg bearable. Being able to escape into the north for a little bit with our boy Kratos and Atreus. No, that was brilliant.
And this is nothing against Joburg. I mean, like most good Cape Townians, I'm originally from Joburg. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Game of the Year and obviously Expedition 33 being that game that you and I have played. So there's obviously that heavy bias towards that because it's one of the few games on the list that we have actually played. So for us to say that should be Game of the Year maybe is a little bit unfair. But when you look at kind of the conversation online, that seems to be the general consensus. But a lot of that is also coming from homies that are kind of around our age, late 20s, mid 30s, late 30s, like the guys who were playing those Final Fantasy games in the 90s, and you wonder, like, there's always that scary doubt in my heart that it doesn't win because of that. Like, it's kind of speaking to a niche that maybe is very loud to us because we're in that environment, but maybe it's not being played as much outside of that with the other games on the list.
So, look, I mean, that brings up an interesting question about demographics and what age group gamers are and what games they consume. So obviously for our generation, which is what you would traditionally see as like a hardcore gamer. I mean, for us growing up, when we said, you're a gamer, you're a nerd. I mean, you're a freaking nerd.
No,
now gaming has become way more widely accepted. I still remember when House of Cards came out, the show, Kevin Spacey's character. We're not going into any of the stuff he's done. Just talking about, the character.
The art, separating the art from the artist.
He would play Call of Duty to relax. And I mean, if you look at how massive Call of Duty's gotten and how, I know guys that don't really game, but they'll play Call of Duty.
FIFA, CoD, that branch.
Where that's almost separate to the guys that will play something like, any kind of MOBA, any kind of RTS, World of Warcraft, stuff like that, And then you look at the younger generation where it's mobile gaming, it's Roblox, it's Fortnite, it's Minecraft, and that's again something that I can't really identify with. So it's very difficult to say with that, I mean, if you look at the winner of last year's Game of the Year, Astro's...
Astro World, yeah.
Astro World. I mean,
Astro Boy. Sorry, Astro World is
something.
Flippin'. What's it? Travis, the hip hop artist, was actually here recently. It's a CD of his. Wow. Hey, well, that was in Fortnite, so maybe there's the link.
So yeah, I mean, I played about 80% through that game, and it's a good game. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't. I mean, that's not really fair to say.
Again, it's coming from our viewpoint, right? So from us, it's like, how do you make that game of the year? But probably the younger gamer that absolutely is now probably the largest part of the market probably played the shit out of that game, dude.
Yeah. So look, I mean, for me with platformers, it's always very difficult because you have the gold standard, which is Mario platformers. Nothing has even really come close. And I wanted to say that it doesn't quite have the magic of that, but I think Sony's done a really good job with that game, making it as special as it possibly can be, out of basically nothing. So massive respect and props to them.
It always felt like was the free game you got when you bought your PS, was just that like free title that you get to jam. So turning it into something like that is pretty special, to your point.
No, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it is a fantastic game, but I guess that also just goes back to what I said before, where demographic really matters when it comes to these discussions, because for me personally, like I was really putting some time thinking into like, what am I looking for in a game? And it's something I can play with my friends is probably one of the top ones.
A lot, yeah.
It's something where you can progress towards something. And this is where RPGs are so addictive, because your character keeps getting stronger. Your time spent in, you get a tangible, well, not tangible, digitally tangible feedback for your time spent. Or it's a competitive game, right? And I've kind of shied away from those, but those are sort of like the things that matter. And obviously the one thing that ties it all together, and which is king, is gameplay. Yeah. If the gameplay is not there, you're not going to play it. Even 100%. If you have a ridiculously good story, if the gameplay is trash, you're going to do the story once and you're done.
Yeah, and I mean, on that point, before we move onto, because I think there's two very good points from that. There's obviously the RPG element, and that'll be a strong conversation around PoE with you. And then from the multiplayer side and competitive gaming, I think we're seeing a surge of releases from fighting games to MOBAs, to FPSs, to MMOs now, where it's like, how do you choose, And again, those points that you mentioned, so important when you eventually make that choice, because a multiplayer game can consume months of your time. Yeah. Especially if there's ranked leaderboards, et cetera, et cetera. But going back to that point of Game of the Year, what we're looking for, how Expedition 33 grabbed us, and then looking at, like you were saying, those audiences, the demographics that you're trying to point towards. And I want to use Expedition 33 alongside Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and kind of how E33 got it right, utilizing that old turn-based kind of nostalgia element in a game that I'm talking for myself here, I've been yearning for, being such a core Final Fantasy fan, made it work so well in terms of incorporating a little bit of action combat, in terms of mid-turn reactions and these types of things. And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, probably it's the worst selling in terms of expectations. It really didn't do well. Undersold, I think even like Dragon's Dogma last year, which was like, I think 8th on the list. I think Final Fantasy Rebirth was sitting in like the high high teens, anyway. And I think if you look at a Rebirth, you had the issue of trying to maybe appeal to a new market, a new audience. You want to get them to play this game. They didn't come from the original Final Fantasy, so you can't just make it Final Fantasy 7 and it looks prettier because maybe a new game is not going to be interested in that type of turn-based combat. Obviously wrong. Look how well Expedition 33 did. So they went with a hack and slash. I know you've spoken about that and kind of how bored you kind of got on Remake going to the later chapters of the game, because it just felt like the same thing. A little
the thing is, they didn't commit one way or another, right? Like you either make it an action game where you need something where it turns into like a Shadow of Mordor or a Batman Arkham or something like that, where you get tangible abilities and skills that make your character stronger and it changes the way combat is. The problem with that game is it just got really grindy.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to get the platinum trophy at the moment,
not
so
in
I
a good way, you know? Whereas they needed to commit to either that or more the turn-based thing where you still get the abilities and stuff, but I don't know, the balance was just completely off.
And that's the thing, bro. It's because you're mixing action combat with an ATB bar, a little bit of turn-based in there. So you feel a lot of the time like you're wasting turns. And I think if I go and replay an old Final Fantasy now, right, like Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I just know exactly. It's easy to win the game. They're actually easy games when you know how to play them. Yeah. So I think that's where Expedition 33 got it so right with these.
But a big part of the fun with those games is figuring out how to win it.
I think it's just we're at our age now, is we're going to figure that out so quickly. They need to find a way to, with a new game, to add that new sense of difficulty, which comes from pure mechanical skill and reactions, like what Expedition 33 did, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they did so well, is they merged those two issues, or rather they merged two solutions, and it just created the perfect game. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth has the gameplay issue, or remake rather, which is what I'm playing at the moment to get the plat. I haven't played Rebirth yet, but just seeing all the feedback in terms of sales issues and how that came to be, I feel, is the gameplay, combat, not getting that right. 2, you have the issue of locking this story, this full story that you get originally back in the day in one cassette. Now it's 3 different games that you have to purchase, plus it's only on the PS5. And so now you're blocking people from purchasing the game because it's on a new console. You have to first play Remake to know what's going on in Rebirth. And when the 3rd version is going to come out, you're going to have to buy the first 2. So if you're not like you or me who's played the original Final Fantasy, and you can kind of just go into number 3.
It's limiting their potential audience.
Yeah,
massively.
So they got nailed by that. So I feel like Final Fantasy is at this weird crossroads where you and I have said it many times, they have to go turn-based the next one. If they don't and the game flops, it's going to be like, guys, you had literally the blueprint was right there. You had an indie get it right. Why wouldn't you just take what they did and add your bajillion-dollar budget to it and make the best Final Fantasy that's ever existed? And that will appeal to us, to those points that you were talking about.
Because the other issue that I also had with those, the latest ones, is just, and that's what Expedition 33 really got right. It's just the immersion and how it introduces you and, carries you through the story of the world. I don't want to feel like I need to grind the game to just get to more information about the world. That should be something that happens as you explore the world, not something that you grind to get. Grinding in a game should either make your character stronger or basically just make your character stronger.
Yeah, they took, what was so perfect to that point is how they took the end game super boss element and fleshed that out, gave you almost a DLC experience after you finished the game by conquering all those secret bosses. It was Alicia, at the top of the tower. Simon, it's like all this stuff that wasn't just like a secret boss that you now go figure out and it's like super hard, game over.
And they were hard. The difficulty spike in that game is substantial, but the satisfaction you get when you get it right is just fantastic. And what's nice about it is it wasn't something where you feel like, oh, I need to go grind for 20 levels to be able to do this more easily. It's like you need to get the timing and the skill aspect of it right.
Setting up a perfect character with all the...
just the combat stuff like dodging, parrying.
What are they called again? How can I forget? The little bonuses and buffs that you can give yourself. The Pictos, setting up the perfect Pictos combination. Like that's where the replayability comes from, that point you're making. You can conquer the end game stuff by building a sick team and spending time figuring that out instead of just grinding away. Exactly to your point. And they got that down so well. I feel like from beginning to end, the story, you were so captivated. The cliffhangers, the massive twists, then the end game with these fleshed out super bosses. It wasn't just like going and finding the boss now that you've unlocked. It has no story. It just feels like a difficulty setting.
No, it ties into the overall narrative.
They're honestly masterful game. That's
Which
why it's
I'm
so
excited for the additional content that they're now giving fans just as a thank you. I mean, that
shows you.
Giga. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I think from a Game of the Year perspective, I mean, looking at some of the nominations, most of the sites you look at, it's sitting up there in the top 3. I would be very surprised if it doesn't win. But again, that's a little bit of bias. But I think if just looking at that game and the Final Fantasy franchise, I mean, like I've been saying, I've been replaying all these games at the moment, trying to get my plat trophies, and just going to that point of us replaying these old games and still getting that dopamine hit. Why are they not getting it right?
You're bugged.
Oh, really?
On your shirt.
Oh, flip, bro.
I know.
How's it, brother?
See, they're always trying to listen to you.
He obviously loves turn-based combat games.
He's like, that's a squareenix bug.
yeah, you better not be talking shit about my games.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think Expedition 33 for us really started the year off really strong. I mean, I think you've still have to got the whole year going. All these other games that are releasing hasn't really been knocked off its perch. GTA 6 obviously being moved to next year allowed these games to breathe a little bit. So we're seeing like a neck and neck fight here where GTA 6 probably would have just kind of been the obvious winner. It's really setting up a pretty scary end of the year voting process, to be honest. I wouldn't like to be on that panel.
I mean, obviously you've got to mention Silk Song.
Yeah.
So we're both in the process of playing Hollow Knight.
Yes, been loving it. It's a lot of fun.
It's been really good, but again, it doesn't, for me at least, have that magical feel where you go sit on your couch, you turn off the lights, you've got your TV and your controller in front of you, and the rest of the world just melts away.
Yeah, I think it's just very bleak. That's the thing about it. It's just a bleak, dark world that they've built. It's like
nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. It's just sometimes maybe it's just not the right time. I don't know. Where you are as well in like your personal life in a weird way can also impact like what games you want to play. Like if I think of the Dark Souls run that I did last year, it's like jeepers. There's like 4 months of just pure pain and torture. So it's like I must have been in a really good place in my life to deal with that. It's like, So it's same thing. Maybe it's just like not the right time.
it was just the masochist inside of you and coming out a little bit to play.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Hollow Knight, Silk Song, definitely one that we need to play. And I think the gameplay, though, touching on that point, that's where it wins, bro. The way you traverse the world. That is for me where I'm having the most fun, being able to like use your sword, your weapon to bounce on the thorns and figuring out what objects you can bounce on. And I think that's been a huge bonus for me.
Yeah, and it's difficult to not enjoy a good Metroidvania game, right? And whether or not it's the best Metroidvania game, I don't know. If I think of, for me personally, the greatest Metroidvania game I've ever played is the first Metroid Prime. I mean, that was just such a good gaming experience. I mean, for the time, the quality of the graphics, how smooth it ran on the hardware, everything. And it basically took that 2D formula and executed it in 3D better than anyone could have ever expected.
Maybe I need to check that out, bro.
It's a fantastic game.
I've been on a bit of a retro run. I think that's a good one to add to the list, bro.
Yeah, and they did a remaster, and obviously, you own a Switch.
Oddworld as well is another one that I need to try out, bro. A lot of these good platformers, but
yeah,
back to your point.
So just if you want to play it properly nowadays, you can just emulate it. So.
You didn't say that.
No, look, I mean, if you own the game, I mean, that's the thing with a lot of these.
Yeah, go buy it on Steam or whatever, and then just emulate it wherever else you want.
The fact is that if you look at like these older consoles, especially cartridge-based consoles, they're at a point where the flash memory on the cartridges are basically getting wiped due to degradation over time. So you can't save anymore.
Bro, I wonder then if bro, that actually scares me a bit. One of my Pokemon Yellow, Blue.
Oh no, you're screwed.
Are they cooked, bro?
After enough time, it's inevitable.
I need to go and check that out, bro. Shit.
Yeah.
I've been like, they're sitting in their cases still at home. I've been on a bit of a collection run at the moment, like diverging. I've even brought all my folders here. I've been spending my money wisely, opening Pokemon packs again. Can you believe it? Jeez, like, bro. 34 years old.
Nothing wrong with that. The problem for me is just the extreme variance when it comes to opening packs.
Yeah, and the rates apparently on this Mega Evolution aren't too good. But yeah, let's not get too deep into that. I mean, chatting actually going from obviously it can't really be nominated this year, but so kind of moving off of the Game of the Year topic is a game that I have played a little bit. I've gotten most of that information of the game from you, to be honest, but I know the man has been getting really deep into Path of Exile 2. And I want to, on that topic specifically, I think is focus on what's keeping you coming back to a game like that. You know, why is it like drawing you to push the limits in terms of building your items and these really cool stories you've been telling me about that is actually quite fun to hear. The economy is forming on that game in beta still. It's flipping awesome.
Yeah, so look, I think it's very far along for a beta. It's just compared to the finished product, there's still a lot of content to come, which is fantastic.
That's amazing.
I think let's actually now just kick off and go through the games that we've spent a lot of time playing, and we'll start with Path of Exile, and we can move to the next game, right?
It's the one that you've been sucking in, bro.
Yeah, so I played when they released end of last year, and you get to a point where essentially there's nothing really left to do in the game. Your character's so strong, you can kill all the pinnacle bosses. You can basically just breeze through maps.
So that's where you are now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this time I've spent way more time playing than previous seasons. Actually, this is the most I've probably played ever Path of Exile. Not necessarily time-wise.
Because your monk in season 1 was insane as well, bro.
I've got way stronger characters this time.
Okay.
So I started off with a lightning arrow Deadeye. Yeah, I know I'm going to get hated in the comments for that because that was sort of like what everyone played. But for me, it was something about like you really need to understand the game. And what I mean by that is like how to craft, which gear to pick up, etc., etc. And in the past, I hadn't spent the time to really fully understand that. So I just wanted to get a point where I can, get enough currency, get enough gold, so that if I see something else that I want to level up, I can do that. So
quick process.
Leveled Deadeye to 96, got fairly decent gear, and then I leveled Amazon to 96. Also, actually, funny enough, playing Lightning Arrow. But
I remember you said actually Amazon was the better pick eventually.
Yes, because of one of the ascendancy points where you can have way more evasion, where you get double evasion from your headpiece, gloves, and boots.
Okay.
So that just allowed me to be way more survivable. The point being is that I got to a point where I think my character probably has about 2 to 3 mirrors worth of gear.
Okay. And you told me how valuable those things are.
Yeah. And that's primarily due to crafting, right? So that's a negative in the game to a certain extent, where the only real way to get ahead is if you know how to manipulate the market. Some people are going to hate that. Some people are going to love it.
And that's where the replayability comes in terms of depth, right? I mean, that's part of why I think WoW has been so successful, is people have been spending pretty much half their lives playing that flipping marketplace in the real one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's more so about content being fresh, and that's what's nice about Path of Exile. They'll bring out a new league, which adds a new mechanic, the economy resets, and the game is very, very, very different in the first week to the second week to the third week, never mind a month or two down the line, just in terms of the value of items, what matters, and so on. So I really spent time learning how to craft this league. So I crafted all my gear, crafted items that I sold for, hundreds of divines. I mean, I've currently got gloves on the market for almost a mirror. And that was really satisfying.
Yeah.
Now I'm at the point though where it's like, okay, cool. in terms of gameplay, there's not necessarily that much to do anymore.
Now it's a tracing level 100 is I think what you were talking about, but that's just insane. Just time sink. Yeah.
Well, I mean, now basically all I'm doing with my time before the next league is experimenting with stuff so that next league I have a smoother run or I can get further ahead in the economy. So it's quite a heavy economy-based game unless you play solo self-found, which has its own merits. Okay. But I think to not get too specific on Path of Exile, and just to talk about, what keeps us coming back and sort of like the general topic we set out at the start of the discussion is, the gameplay obviously is fantastic. There's so much freedom in how you want to set up your character and build your character. Yes, I was playing Lightning Arrow Deadeye, but I tried every variation of it in terms of the skill tree, with deflection, with evasion, with movement speed, etc., etc. And there's really quite a lot of fun in that. I think, with these RPGs, what really gets you going back is the fact that you've got this progression system, right? And there's always a way to get stronger. Like the ceiling is so unbelievably high in Path of Exile, where there's guys like Imperium Gaming, where he has these projects where essentially he, at the end of a league, when he's flushed with currency, he gets all his viewers to donate crazy amounts of currency to him, and he just does like, okay, cool, what's the maximum amount of energy shield I can build on a character? Okay. What's the maximum amount of movement speed? I mean, you must watch that stuff. The character basically just teleports left to right across the entire screen in an instant. It's hilarious, right? And as pretty much any other player that doesn't have access to essentially infinite currency, you're never going to even reach those heights, never mind even smell them, right? Yeah. So there's always more to do in that aspect. But I mean, our generation, Diablo 2, these ARPGs, they really are fantastic. There are a couple I still need to try, but for me, at the moment, Path of Exile really has been very fun to play because you don't necessarily need to think so much. Yeah. You figure stuff out and then you've got to play. The campaign's a whole different story. Funny enough, I didn't really care too much about the story. Yeah, I sort of like whatever. I just want to get to the boss fights. I want to get through the mechanics. I want to get the loot. Yeah. And that dopamine rush when you hear a tink, it's like, yes, okay, no, it's not that good of a piece of currency.
Tough thing I feel about kind of the story element in an ARPG. I feel that that's such a huge, important part of it because it's an RPG. That maybe that's the thing that detracts me a bit. I don't feel very attached to my character. Maybe that's just a personal issue there where the previous Diablos were very good at that. Obviously, the world that they built was so exciting. I mean, we still think about the Tyraels and obviously the Diablos, the Balls, and Diablo 2. It's just like that's still stuck so strong.
They definitely do a better job.
Yes, I think if anything, that's the one thing I could say maybe Path of Exile can improve on is getting like a really good story writer in there to kind of make your character itself feel a bit more or not easier to be attached to, I guess, for an easy phrase there. Great game. I think I've been on that run of kind of dancing between multiplayers and then going back and playing all these old retro games. That's really where I've been stuck at the moment. Been struggling with multiplayers, specifically FPS. I mean, you always know that's kind of always been my forte. And Call of Duty just been struggling, man, with cheaters. I can't believe that's just that cliche that keeps on being spoken about. I can't believe they still have these issues.
It's unreal that they cannot solve that issue.
It's mind-blowing.
Because the game
I almost feel like there's something internal happening there, bro.
The game is fun, right? Like, I mean,
you were grinding COD, bro, of all the people. And I'm
not a COD player.
I love that moment.
Like, I'll pick up COD because the homies are playing it, but and look, I'll give them that. The mechanics itself, the game is very satisfying. Yeah. But holy crap, bro, the cheaters, it's unreal how much it ruins the experience.
All the CS boys, the Battlefield guys, hate on me if you want. COD has the best movement and gunplay out of all shooters when it comes to just having fun all the time. You just always busy. It always feels cool. Like the movement feels cool. Strafe, jump. It's like Quake and Counter-Strike had a baby all the way back in the day. And it's kept that source. But unfortunately, the stuff around it, bro, the skins, the cosmetic elements, the cheating, the lackluster maps, Always going back to Warzone. The new maps are shit. Going back to Verdansk, it's boring. Like, I'm just like, something needs to happen there, dude, to shock the industry a little bit. Make one Call of Duty that's always being updated like Counter-Strike does. I don't know, something there, because Black Ops 7 looks good on paper, but heavy cheaters in the beta. Can you believe it, bro? The first day of the beta, Oaks are hacking. And the maps are just, I don't know, bro. Just, it feels too messy. It doesn't feel like enough thought is being put into that. I don't know, the core elements of the game.
It's very, very simple, right? And if you look at the game, it's basically been the exact same gameplay shell for the last decade.
Bro, it looks like a mobile game now.
They've perfected the gameplay 10 years ago, let's say. And they've just repackaged and reshoved that same stuff at a higher and higher price each year back to us.
And it's looking worse and worse, bro. It's so weird.
And the thing that I find
blows a 60,000 Rand PC up, because it's just like, chows your graphics card. Like, what? Sorry for complaining now.
All good. But with good reason, right? Because we all know what it can be, and it's not that. I think for me, the big thing is you've got this thing that works. It's the simple things that gamers want that really makes it better. So just give us more new maps on a regular basis. That keeps the gameplay fresh. You can even just have map packs and sell that instead of releasing a new COD each year, where we all know what the problems are at this point. I'm not gonna waste time on that.
We were talking about kind of ranked play and bringing, what keeps you playing a game competitively. I feel maybe it's also, again, a personal thing where I've been in that place of having a 5-man team and scrimming with your boys every night and getting ready for the big LAN tournament, and having a game that wants you to invest that much energy into the competitive side. Nothing has bit that for me in years, bro. It just doesn't bite that bug. I can go, if someone today had to say there's a 5,000 Rand COD 4 tournament pro mod happening in Joburg, bro, I'll buy a ticket right now and I'd fly there. I wouldn't even be getting my money back. But it's just that feeling of playing with the bras, going for that same goal together, putting all that time into mastering the game and the maps. Just the CODs just haven't given me that hunger since then, to be honest. Yeah.
So what other competitive games have you played? Maybe not this year, but in the last 2, 3, 4 years.
But funny enough, I think you and I have been playing a lot of Street Fighter together.
Yeah.
So Street Fighter 6 for me, the love for Street Fighter started like 7 years ago when I was running my agency up in Joburg, and it was kind of fed into the same issue of not finding a shooting game or a Call of Duty that's brought that joy back. Street Fighter has really done that for me. Maybe I've been too hard stuck on the one fighting game, but it always just, for me, just Street Fighter always feels the best when I go and try and dabble in other ones. It just, something always brings me back to that game. But as you know, recently pushed to Hitmaster with Ryu. He's a lot better at the moment, so that was maybe easier than it was in the past.
No, I mean, you basically, moment Ryu got buffed, you just switched over to that.
Fuck Ryu. I'll claim, if there's one thing I won't claim, it's that, bro. I've been a Ryu stan my whole life. Don't you dare.
I just give him shit about it each time.
But yeah, look, I think that's been the game that has been pushing me to register for tournaments. Like World Warrior was today. Unfortunately, I couldn't play it. Timing just didn't work out. But that's been the one game where I'll drive to the ACGL tournament in Bloberg and go play, even though there's no real prize money, because the game is that fun. And the community is that cool. So Street Fighter has been right up there. It's having a bit of a wobbly time now with obviously Mai and the new Sea Viper brought into the game. She looks pretty strong, but very execution heavy. You're just starting to see a lot of the same characters. So that's the sentiment, is it's getting boring because of that. So I see a big patch coming at the end of the year. They did that last year, like a big balance patch after the character was released now in September. So I hope they make a nice change there that kind of brings Mai down to earth a little bit, even gives Ryu a little bit less of that drive damage, because I think that's just where his strength lies. He just burns your meter. If you take that away, he becomes a little bit more fair. But Street Fighter's been the game. So on that question.
In terms of the overall discussion, the thing that's really satisfying about a game like Street Fighter is you can feel how you get better, right? Like if I look at how I'm playing now versus how I played at the start of the year, it's like two different players.
And
right?
how good does it feel, dude? Wow.
No, and I mean, I haven't really put in the time like you have. And that's great. I think with a lot of these other games, especially if you're playing like a RPG and whatnot, your skill basically just gets improved with knowledge. It's not really like execution or anything that
your character's numbers start matching.
It's not millisecond dependent. Yes. You know, whether you're pressing the right button at the right time. And that's nice because I've got no other game at the moment that comes anywhere close to that tangible feedback. The thing with shooters is that, you know, we've been playing shooters for so long. It's very difficult to get better at shooters unless you spend time like in a movement training map, in a aim training, stuff like that.
Maps over and over,
and that's
and
not
over
fun.
Again. Yeah, it's brutal, bro. That's again, it's only fun when you have that goal attached to it of going and playing at a LAN, or there's some big prize on the line. Otherwise, you're just getting better at something for nothing, you know. And I think that's where, on the one side, also playing games like Call of Duty, there isn't that much of a scene here at the moment. Very sad. Because it was the biggest game in South Africa for years. I mean, 130-something teams back when CoD 4 was around.
But I mean, competitive gaming as a whole has pretty much died down in South Africa.
Crazy to think, eh? Gaming's grown here, but the competitive side of it has
There's probably more CoD players than ever in the country.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. When you think of CoD Mobile, I mean, brought that point in where if you literally put CoD Mobile next to the new CoD BO7, it's like, wait, they're starting to look the same, bro. We're literally just playing a mobile game that somehow burns our PCs alive.
I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think on the shooter aspect, Battlefield 6 is probably the one that maybe everyone is focusing on at the moment. I think it's like top 3, top 4 on Steam on concurrent players at the moment. I'm having a lot of fun just playing Sniper the whole time. Very, very fun. Issue we having, obviously, is fucking bot lobbies, dude. I don't know what the issue is with South Africa. Maybe there's just not enough people searching it. The game is pretty pricey. Odd time of the year. Maybe everyone's waiting for that Christmas bonus. But I think that game has potential. Feels good. Online servers feel great when you end up on local. Gunplay is good. Variety in guns. The maps aren't bad at all. So I see potential there. But again, it's a game that's going to require 8-man teams probably, and it's always so tough to build squads, bro, in our small community. But I'm very curious to see where Battlefield 6 goes internationally from a competitive perspective, because I don't know if you know, but Battlefield 6 or Battlefield rather, from a team-based perspective, is probably one of, or maybe top 2 in terms of the most successful teams we've had come out of South Africa competing overseas. Barry Luzada, the owner of Metal State Anthrax, he actually captained a team back in 2142 that went to like the World Championships. They actually won the EU Cup, beat Germany, Sweden. Bro, it was massive back in the day. So
I did not know that.
Serious results. I mean, they're like us now, bullies, you know. But again, a good game can bring those types of players back if there's a nice cake, a cherry you're chasing, a carrot at the end of the stick, you know. So let's see what Battlefield 6 brings to the competitive element in terms of local gaming, but globally. We're just waiting for that FPS that can kind of match CS. You know, CS is just the god of FPS all these years. Something that is a bit faster. You know, I need that strafe jumping and quick ADS scoping, you know, crazy headshots, bro. There's nothing like a Call of Duty headshot ping, dude.
No, I hear you. Look, for me, with shooters, I never really got into that end of it. Never so deep, never with like organized teams and whatnot. So for me, really, it is just the gameplay needs to be good enough that the satisfaction you get from getting kills. Because I'm never going to be like a top KD guy. I'm never going to, you know, rank up to a certain point. I just play because it's either with mates, or that's it. Yeah, right.
Hey, bro, you were getting smooth on your controller. Don't head on yourself too much, dude.
But the problem is now my controller just doesn't want to work for some reason. Only with COD. So I've been playing a bit of mouse and keyboard.
Astro, come on, get our boy a new controller. Yeah.
No, the controller's fine. It's just flipping the COD game coding or whatever it is. Yeah, because I mean on Battlefield it works perfectly.
Okay, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
So I would say then for us this year, looking at kind of where games are going, I think you and I are really hungering for that co-op multiplayer that really sucks us in.
Co-op RPG multiplayer would be.
Are we putting our bets on Arc Raiders, bro? That's one that I'm looking out for.
I don't know. If looter shooters have not really ever been my thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if
it's literally Tarkov but just not as brutal,
Not as
not
punishing.
as milsim, right? And a lot more fun in terms of the environment. Obviously, it's futuristic and kind of another take on world being overtaken by AI and robots.
But what was the other looter shooter? You played it with your wife quite a bit.
I know we played a lot of Division.
Yes.
So a lot of Division, and Larry absolutely loved that. So I think that's where, like, hey, maybe that's the game that brings the wifey back in as well. But I think it might be that kind of rust brutality that is going to come with the game as well. I remember, bro, I was still figuring out the settings, like busy figuring out how to loot, and it just blasted me in the back. I was like, brother, say hello. You're like the VoIP, like tease me a little bit. Let's create some
Shoot
content
first,
here,
ask
bro.
questions later.
Yeah, because I think that lends to content so much. We're having what do you call it? Not VoIP, but when you can comm in the proximity chat. Like in a game like that, I think can just lend to some hilarious moments, right? Like the early days of PUBG kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah,
So I think that's. There's hope there.
Any other games you've spent a significant amount of time playing this year?
Sure, bro. I don't know if I'm proud to say it, but no, actually I am, bro. I'm a Final Fantasy fiend. I've platinumed Final Fantasy X recently. That was a couple weeks ago. Last year when actually PSN, bit of a slate on PlayStation here. I love PlayStation, but this is the one thing that bugged me. I had all the Final Fantasies were available on PS Plus, all of them. So I was playing 10 last year, got to the point where I was farming the monster arena to complete the sphere grid and then take on the final super bosses. Bro, they just removed Final Fantasies from the PS Plus program. I was so devastated, so pissed off with it. I just stopped, took a year break, and they brought 10 on special like a month ago, grabbed it, and then finished that process. Bro, it was like 100+ hours, most of it just smacking the same boss over and over in the monster arena. So I've been on that Final Fantasy achievement grind. 7, 8, 10, busy with the Final Fantasy 7 remake. So I've just gotten the second dresses now. I'm going to do the hard playthrough. So yeah, honestly, the last 2 months has been replaying Final Fantasy games in my off time. And then Battlefield, obviously been playing quite a bit of that. Played the Hollow Knight, as you were saying. But yeah, it's been a weird year, bro. So many games to play. But since Expedition 33, the RPG side of things I've struggled with, and that's why
you're going back to the older
I'm
stuff.
back on the old games, bro.
But
I'm just getting the same joy from it.
We must actually prepare a bit more numbers and statistical info for our next chat.
Yes.
But I remember reading an article that's saying is like 60 or 70% of games being played at the moment are older games, right? And that, again, is not saying that there isn't good new games coming out, you know. We know that's not true. But I think that there's definitely something in the industry that's not being seen or not being catered to at the moment.
Oh, yeah. I fully agree, bro. I mean, Oblivion did so well, that remake. I loved it. I mean, we are genuinely all going back, chasing these old feelings that we're just not getting in games today. I think it's just catering to a different market, obviously. But we're the guys who have the spending money at the end of the day, and the industry is kind of struggling at the moment, I feel, and that's a big part of it. Like these 16, 17, 18-year-olds that they might be catering to now, there's nothing wrong with that, but they're not the guys who are going to drop $1,000, $1,500 or $80 on a game every month. They just don't have the cash.
No.
So I think we're losing a big part of the industry because we're just not enjoying the games that are costing us so much.
Yeah, and then just to round out the games that we've been playing this year, the one that I've been playing for years now, which is sort of like my guilty pleasure because there's no rank. There's no
bastards finally sucked me in, bro.
There's no rank system. It's basically just matching up a random game each time is Heroes of the Storm. So look, quick discussion about the MOBA space. If you want the most toxic, most degenerate group of gamers in the world,
guaranteed,
they're going to be MOBA players.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you get your rages and guys that'll swear you in ways that will make a sailor blush and COD and stuff like that. But yeah, bro, negativity, hate, like it's ridiculous. So that's why I stopped playing Dota. That's why I stopped playing Dota.
There's something about those emotions that draw people to these games, because if you go to every single streaming website in the world, whether it's Twitch, Kick, YouTube, whatever, Rumble, bro, the top played or most viewed game is always League of Legends. I feel it's a guarantee. I feel,
yeah,
it's either RL streaming, League of Legends is right behind, no matter what. It's just this consistent 80 to 100,000 viewers in the category. I do not know how that game has done so well, and it just carries on.
No, League of Legends just didn't hit the spot for me. Because I started playing Dota back way in the day when it was a Warcraft 3 mod, 5.84C.
Good old Twilight.
Defense of the Ancients, yeah. So I played that a lot, and not being able to deny creeps, and also just like if you're looking at MOBAs, most of them, you need to have so much game knowledge to be able to play it even at just an adequate level.
Yeah.
That it's quite intimidating for new players. So the nice thing about Heroes of the Storm is it's sort of like Blizzard's take on a MOBA. It did badly. They canceled the pro scene, etc. So I mean, I'm not really quite sure what's going on there, but they've got a game mode there called All Random, All Mid.
Yes.
Where
good old ARAM.
Yeah, where you get one lane, 5 people on a team. You could pick one of 3 heroes, no swapping heroes or anything. And games are nice and quick. It's like 10, 15, 20 minutes a game. And it's just constant team fights in the middle of the map the whole freaking game long.
Oh, that's
so
fun. Yeah.
It's super
it has
fun.
Been fun. I won't lie. Yeah, it's mostly just listening to you guys to lose your minds with each other, which is the biggest part of the entertainment.
Well, that again, that brings us back to the very start of today's chat is playing with your friends, right?
Yeah.
I mean, listening to Tim and James is fucking hell.
Perfect. And I think honestly,
oil and water, bro. Oil and water.
Perfectly, yeah. With the MOBA discussion you brought up, we can actually tie that in with shooters and what we're looking for. And yeah, strong way to end it is Deadlock. I feel it's this game that we played on launch, on the initial beta launch. We actually enjoyed it. We loved it. It was just the time. I think every game took really long. And our mate Trav, who lives next door to you here, he, I think, is kind of been whispering to us to check it out again.
Yeah, he's playing it every night.
He's flipping hell. They're sitting on like, I think, nearly 100 hours in the last month or something. So he's definitely finding joy. Our homie Jules as well is playing it a lot. So I think you and I we jumped in, what was it, on Wednesday or Thursday? We played a game.
No, it was like Tuesday.
And got absolutely murdered. But weirdly enough,
it was disgusting.
Less painful because the game was quick.
Yeah.
3 lanes now. The depth of the game, I think, is something that is, again, daunting at first, but the kind of added the little in-game guides.
It's not a beginner-friendly game, because if you get thrown into a lobby like that,
you're not going to come back if you don't have.
No, I mean, I played one game and I haven't played again since, because that was brutal, bro. I think bots would have put up a better fight than us.
No, we got murdered. But I think it's like, weirdly enough, the enjoyment was still there because it didn't last so long.
Yeah.
But we got that competitive kind of spike there from denying creeps and that being part of the game, that depth, the builds. I think there's a lot of potential there. So looking at Deadlock, looking at Battlefield from multiplayer games, I think those are the ones that, hey, maybe there's a little bit of spark there to light up our community, because we have a shit ton of Dota players here. We have a shit ton of CS players here. Imagine that's the game that just finally brings those two communities together.
And a lot of CS players play Dota and vice versa.
Exactly. And those were the two games.
I mean, Travis only played CS and Dota. Now he's playing Deadlock.
There we go. It's literally, he is the perfect kind of
target market.
Yeah, the archetype for a Deadlock fiend. And honestly, those are the two games that have ruled our scene for years. I mean,
since they came out, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they were the two games that had R1 million prize pools for 2 to 3 years here in South Africa. That's obviously all gone, but that just shows the scene is here. So maybe Deadlock is the one. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I think for me, one of the things that I want to do, at least going forward, is just, life's about new experiences and I don't want to say growing as a person, but just growing your experiences and for lack of better words, you don't want to just be doing the same thing over and over again. And obviously that's fine if it makes you happy and whatnot. But I've played the same games over and over now. I know what it's going to be like. It's still fun. Like, I mean, I'm happy to come and sit and go play the same things over and over. But I do want to prioritize playing different new games. The problem is that if you get to our age where you've been gaming for most of your life, you know what you're looking for in a game, and you can so quickly be put off from a game where you don't actually give it a fair shot, or you're like, actually, well, I'm getting a better kick in this space with a game that I already know and have been playing, that, you know, fuck it, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah. I think no, it's a good point. I think we need to try more games. Maybe going through the Game of the Year nominations will be a strong one, so we can give you guys a proper.
Well, that's what we said last time, eh? We're terrible.
No, we are bad. I think let's target a few. Let's target a few. I'll take like 3 or 4 on. You take the other half, and we just try and clean up as much as we can. I think Hades is one that you should look at. You finished the first one, right?
Yeah, I played the first one.
Hades 2 is just being absolutely lauded as, you know, a possible winner as well. So maybe that's one that you can take on. I'll look at the others on the list. I can't actually remember. I know there was an RPG on there that I wanted to try out. Sadly, tactics won't make it. It's just...
It's like one of those Persona 5 style games.
Possibly, yes.
What's the thing called? It's got some Refantasia.
Yes. Was that not last year? Am I being an idiot?
No, it was last year.
Was it last year, hey?
Okay, sorry.
Let me go take a look there. I think there was another...
Flip already a year down the line.
Bro, that's how quick... last time we wanted to speak about this, right? Jeez, like that's, again, going back to us valuing time and making sure we're playing the right games.
Yeah.
But stoked, bro. Thank you, Dre, for hosting us again today here at the Mugen studio. Yo, we got a little something cooking in the background for you guys. So we'll make an announcement on obviously on my RoboHobo channels, but we won't tell you much yet. But the doctor and I, we're cooking up something spicy for you guys. We're going to be selling you dreams very, very shortly. We're going to be here for you. But yeah, it's something that you and I have been kind of teetering on now for a good year, and kind of we've been dipping our toes into certain things and realizing there's actually a big picture here, a big painting that we want to put together, and it's going to be exciting. So this is just the start, soldiers.
Yeah, I think, you know, getting our ducks in a row, the first thing is just to make this consistent, which we haven't. But yeah, I think the plan's been there for a long time, and
we're excited.
I guess time will tell.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. Soldiers,
all right.
Thank you guys. Glad to be back. And it's going to be more of Dre and I just chatting as well. I'm excited for that opportunity to actually keep things consistent and then really bring in those highlight guests when we spot them, when they're in town.
Otherwise, we just bring in Tim and James each week for absolute debauchery.
Yeah, if we're feeling lazy, just bring them in and we're covered.
Like those two guys on Discord, it is...
Yo, guys, twitch.tv/RoboHobo. When Arc Raiders comes out, you're going to get a taste of Tim and James in
The problem
Discord.
is you can only have parties of 3 for that.
Only? I thought it was 4.
No, 3, which is a bit of a bummer.
I guess we're still jumping into the same game, so maybe we just do like some illegal teaming.
Flip through.
Cheers, homies.
Cheers. I'm still in disbelief of those two.
Those oaks, bro.
Love you guys, though.
Absolute piss spots. Laddie pommies. Cheers, boys.